What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing my Auburn schedule preview. But if you haven't, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. And by doing so, it greatly helps out my channel and it helps me grow as a content creator. Well, Auburn had a rough season last year, and they finally got rid of Brian Harsin. I thought they would get rid of him a year earlier than they did, but 2022, they had him out there. They looked really, really bad, and looking at their schedule from last season, yeah, they went 5-7, and they went 2-6 in the SEC. So uh, they looked really, really bad last season. They had Robbie Ashford at quarterback, a guy, in my opinion, I felt like he wasn't really that good at passing the ball, but really, really good running the ball. And since they got rid of Brian Harsin, they have brought in Hugh Freeze as their head coach. We all know Hugh Freeze is a great offensive mind. He's going to be tasked with, trying to develop Robbie Ashford. And wherever Hugh Freeze's latest footprint at, for the most part, he's, always, improved the quarterback play. So with him bringing in Philip Montgomery, another great offensive mind, I expect Robbie Ashford to take a huge step forward in the 2023 season for the Auburn Tigers. And it's going to be interesting, though, because I'm going to read off their schedule. We're going to see what Auburn can possibly look like and who they're going to face. And I'll go ahead and get into it. The first matchup, they're going to go against the UMass Minutemen. It's at Jordan-Hare, home game, September 2nd. I expect Auburn to win this game. It's going to be interesting to see what Auburn looks like offensively, like I said, with Phil Montgomery calling the offensive plays. But expect Auburn to get, a lot of rotation in this matchup. A lot of guys, get some playing time. We'll get a first sight of what Auburn looks like offensively with, new head coach Hugh Freeze run the show. So it's going to be an interesting game, but a game they should win. Next matchup, September 9th, they go against the California Golden Bears, so Cal. And they go to California, so it's going to be a home game for Cal. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Cal, another team that's been struggling in Pac-12. So you have two teams in Auburn and Cal, trying to see where both programs, how much they progress, from last season. It's going to be an interesting game. In my opinion, I think that's a game Auburn should win. In my opinion, Auburn has the better talent. But it's going to be interesting playing at Cal. But Auburn Tigers got to go on the road to California, Berkeley, California, to be exact. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that matchup. But I expect Auburn to win that one. And then, of course, Auburn goes back home, Jordan-Hare, against the Sanford Bulldogs. Like I said, another game to tighten up, loose ends. I try to figure out what players are going to, get the start and establish themselves. A very, very important game because the next matchup on September 23rd, they're going to be going against the Texas A&M Aggies, and they got to go on the road to College Station. I'm going to look at last year's schedule, trying to see did they beat them last season. Yeah, Auburn beat them last season, 13-10, low-scoring game. Auburn was at home last season. Like I said, Texas A&M last season offensively was very, very offense was non-existent for the most part. That's going to change this season. Texas A&M has since brought in Bobby Petrino as the offensive coordinator. Jimbo Fisher no longer is going to be calling the plays. So it's going to be interesting to see what Texas A&M brings this season, guys. I think they're going to be really, really good offensively. And like I said, they're going to be at home. They're going to host Auburn. And I know they're going to want to advance that loss. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in that matchup. That's going to be good football right there. But going on the road, that can be tough for Auburn. Next matchup, though, they go back home September 30th, and they host the Georgia Bulldogs, the reigning champions in college football. Georgia team, like I said, went back-to-back. has a phenomenal defense, and their defense is going to be really, really good this upcoming season, considering that they lost a lot of guys last season. But all they did was just go 15-0, went undefeated. So it's going to be a tough task for Auburn, even though they're playing at home. The Georgia Bulldogs are breaking in a new quarterback, so Auburn can have an advantage considering that Robert Ashford's probably going to be the guy that's going to be the quarterback. So with that being said, strange things happen in Jordan here. I'm going to just say that much. Us Alabama fans know it's a tough place to play at. Georgia fans can say the same thing as well. They had their bad luck there as well. So, but Auburn's going to be hosting the Georgia Bulldogs. And last season, Georgia won big last season, 42-10. I know Auburn got that game circled on their schedule. Very interesting matchup. I tune into this game every time. Great matchup. It's going to be interesting to see what Auburn does with new head coach Hugh Freeze. Like I said, Hugh Freeze, great offensive mind going against a great defensive-minded coach in Kirby Smart. Like I said, Kirby Smart still has a team over there, even though they lost or they're losing Stetson Bennett. They still got a great team around whoever the quarterback's going to be. So, going to be interesting to see who Georgia goes with, at the quarterback position, because he's going to be tasked with going on the road. And like I said, it's hard to play out Auburn, but huge matchup. Next matchup, that following week, they're going to be off and get their bye week, on October 7th. And they're going to need it because on October 14th, they're playing the LSU Tigers in Baton Rouge. Last season, Auburn lost to them 21-17. It was a close matchup last season. LSU is a tough place to play. I don't care who plays there. It's always tough to play in that atmosphere. It's going to be the Tiger Bowl. I call it the Tiger Bowl. And Brian Kelly, won the SEC last season. Like I said, was able to beat Auburn last year at home. But, at Auburn's, house. But they host Auburn this year. So, tough matchup for Auburn. Going on the road to Baton Rouge. Probably going to be a night game, I would expect. Brian Kelly, like I said, had a phenomenal season last season, coming in as a first-year head coach, winning the SEC West. So that's going to be an interesting game, guys. Like I said, two tough games coming off each other. But at least Auburn will get a bye week in between. But they're definitely going to need that rest after playing Georgia to play the LSU Tigers. Interesting matchup. In my opinion, that game could be a toss-up. But I like LSU's talent. But it's too early for me to call who I think is going to win that matchup. I'm going to do a prediction when the time comes for that matchup. But tough matchup. Next matchup, October 21st. Auburn hosts Ole Miss Rebels. Last season, they lost to Ole Miss 48-34. But if I remember right, Auburn was in that game, guys. Ole Miss, I think, got up to a big start, big lead in that matchup. But Auburn was able to hang in there. And Ole Miss had struggled all season stopping the run. They had the third best rushing attack in the country last season, but they also struggled defensively in the running game. So Auburn pretty much ran all up and down Ole Miss's defense. And, I think Auburn would want to get that, payback for that matchup of losing that game. Like I said, was hanging in there with them. Ole Miss beat them 48-34. So Robert Ashford, I expect that Auburn run game to get back clicking. And like I said, favorable matchup playing at home against the Ole Miss Rebels. Next matchup, October 28th October 28th, a Saturday. Mississippi State Bulldogs, they host them. Mississippi State, we all know condolences to Mike Leach. He passed away. And since then, they have hired Zach Arnett to be their head coach. He was Mississippi State's defensive coordinator. Expect Mississippi State defense to still be good, guys. Then they also bringing in a new offensive coordinator, and they still have Will Rogers there. I expect Mississippi State offense to look totally different from what it's been looking like. I think they're going away from the air raid. Mississippi State could be a team that can be sneaky good, guys. They have Appalachian State offensive coordinator. We all know Appalachian State is a team that can shock a lot of Power 5 schools, and they beat Texas A&M last season. So you got to watch out for Mississippi State if you're an Auburn fan. Even though they're coming to you, Jordan Hare, it's going to be a great matchup. And Mississippi State going to be I think, one of those sneaky teams that if you don't watch out, they can beat you. But should be a favorable matchup for Auburn at home. Then November 4th, Auburn goes on the road to Nashville, Tennessee to play the Vanderbilt Commodores. Matchup I think Auburn should win, but Vanderbilt was sneaky good last season. They got a couple of wins. I think they beat Florida last season, so don't sleep on Vanderbilt, but definitely a game Auburn should win. Has better talent than Vanderbilt, but still an SEC opponent. So, but a favorable matchup, even though they're going on the road. But I think Auburn should take care of business there. Then November 11th, they go to Arkansas, guys. The Arkansas Razorbacks in Fayetteville. Gonna be a crazy matchup. Let me see. Yeah, Auburn lost last season, 41-27. KJ Jefferson, man, just that rushing attack for Arkansas. You got to be able to stop the run if you want to be able to hang with Arkansas. Arkansas is known for having a physical offensive line. It's going to be a hard matchup going to Fayetteville and playing against them. And then, of course, they got new offensive coordinator Dan Enos, great mastermind offensively, knows how to develop quarterbacks. If he can get KJ Jefferson to pass the ball better than he has since he's been at Arkansas, look out. Arkansas can be a team to be reckoned with. Tough matchup for Auburn going on the road. In my opinion, it could be a toss-up. Anybody can win that matchup. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that matchup. Then, of course, Auburn goes back home. New Mexico State Aggies. Like I said, a team sharpen up things they need to tighten up on. Especially before the next matchup that they have on November 25th, and that's the yearly Iron Bowl. And they host my Alabama Crimson Tide. We got to go on the road to Jordan Hare. Like I said, Auburn's always a tough place to play. Just for some reason, we struggle for the most part when we're there. You can throw all the records out the water. This is a rivalry, and it's going to be interesting. Like I said, a guy in Hugh Freeze that has beat Nick Saban 2 years in a row back in 2014, 2015. So, I remember him saying, when he was hired by Auburn, he told Nick Saban that was he nervous, but my Alabama Crimson Tide, we're going to be ready. I'm pretty sure. Going on the road to Jordan Hare, and I know Auburn's going to be ready. Like I said, throw all the records out the water. It's going to be a great matchup. And, of course, December 2nd, Auburn were to win the West. They'll play on December 2nd for the SEC Championship. But I'm looking at the schedule, guys. Auburn, for the most part, they got a lot of home games. Like I said, they host Georgia at home. They host Ole Miss at home. They host Mississippi State at home. Then they got my Alabama Crimson Tide at home. But they got to go on the road to Cal Field to play against the Texas A&M Aggies. Got to go on the road to LSU. Those are some tough places to play. Then they got to go on the road to Arkansas. But it could be a favorable matchup, in my opinion. Favorable schedule. Like I said, hosting pretty good teams. Alabama at home. Mississippi State at home. Ole Miss at home. Georgia at home. So you get two of the top teams in the SEC at home this season. So favorable schedule, guys. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what Auburn does with Hugh Freeze. A lot of turnover, had to get in the transfer portal to get some guys to come there. But I made a change at defensive coordinator with Ron Roberts, great defensive mind. Auburn could be a sleeper, guys. It could be a dark horse in the SEC this upcoming season. But what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And once again, guys, if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.